afternoon, everyone. This is Ed with West Coast Haunts. Going solo today. Today we are here in Rhyolite, Ghost Town. And just wanted to show you some of these really cool buildings around. Doesn't look like it's open today, but we will take a gander anyway. So let's get on with it, shall we? Standing here right now amidst the dry, windy Nevada desert. It's hard to believe that right under our feet was once a bustling metropolis of over 10,000 people. And I'm not talking about a shabby camp. This was a proper city. Let's dust off the pages of history to see what miracle created Rhyolite and what made it vanish as quickly as a mirage. It all started in 1904. It was the era of gold rush dreams and sudden fortunes. Our story features two main characters, Shorty Harris and Ed Cross. These two prospectors were wandering around looking for luck when they stumbled across some quartz rocks. And guess what? Packed with gold. Here's a pretty funny legend about it. When he found the gold, Shorty Harris was overjoyed. In true Wild West fashion, he decided to celebrate with a massive drinking binge at a nearby town. But do you know the number one rule of finding treasure? Keep your mouth shut. Well, in his drunken state, Shorty loudly boasted to everyone in the saloon about his hill made of gold. Result? The very next morning, hundreds of people were riding horses and wagons, stampeding towards that hill. And boom, the town of Rhyolite was officially born from a drunken boast. From a dusty little camp, Rhyolite grew at rocket speed. By 1907, this place had everything a modern city could desire. You heard that right. In the middle of this desert, there were hotels, a hospital, an opera house, 3 railroad lines, and even an ice cream parlor. Wow, just imagine the luxury of eating ice cream in the 100-degree heat of Death Valley back then. Just look at these ruins. This used to be the Cook Bank, a solid 3-story building with marble stairs, stained glass, and electric lighting. It was the ultimate symbol of extreme wealth, a bold statement from the miners that said, "We are going to be here forever." But the real highlight of Rhyolite lies in a very humble structure, and it happens to be my favorite, Tom Kelly's Bottle House. What's the one thing you lack the most in the desert? Wood. Wood was incredibly expensive, but there was one thing Rhyolite had in absolute abundance: empty beer and liquor bottles from the town's 50-plus saloons. In 1906, a builder named Tom Kelly had a crazy but genius idea. He collected about 50,000 glass bottles and used adobe mud to bind them together, building a beautiful 3-room house. Tom Kelly wasn't a drunkard, by the way. He was just a brilliant 76-year-old man who knew how to improvise. The bottle house didn't just offer great insulation against desert heat. It was so durable that it's still standing over 100 years later, while the grand brick buildings have crumbled. Sometimes simplicity and adaptability outlast everything else. Here is one of the Tom's Bottle House. Here is an example of bottle house architecture. This is called Tom Kelly Bottle House. House made out of bottles. We cannot go in today. I think it's only open on weekends. And today is a Wednesday. But anyway, you get to see part of that. All the bottles there on the other side. But yeah, pretty interesting. Really kind of neat to see. So Tom's Bottle House. Now, this is really cool. This is the old train depot, the Las Vegas and Tonopah Railroad Depot, which was completed in June of 1908, and about the same time that the Rhyolite began its slow decline. And we'll get into the history of that in a little while. I guess it was a really fast-growing town, and then it basically ended in the mid 1915-16 era, and they actually pulled the plug on the electricity. So all the people, anyone who was left, had to either not have electricity or get out. So we're going to take a walk over here and look at this today. It looks like it's open. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this train depot. 24-hour video. This is really cool. So this was the old entrance. As you can see, there's some of the other old buildings down there, but people would come in here on the train. And early 1900s. I don't know, I'd kind of like to go on a train sometime. I've never done the whole thing where you take the trip and you sleep in the train cars and everything. That would be kind of a nice trip to go in the old trains. I've only done Amtrak. So, okay, this one was called the Overbury Building, named after John Oliver, who was a native of Orange, New Jersey, and he came here in 1902, made his fortune in the early days at the Tonopah mine, silver mine. And they began this building in 1906, completed in 1907, at a cost between $45,000 and $60,000, which at that time was quite a bit. And it was abandoned in 1910, and much of it was dismantled in 1924. So there you go, 1910 seems to be the year when everyone abandoned this town. And then, like I said, in 1915, 16, somewhere in that area, that's when they stopped the power. So people were forced to leave, any of those people that remained. Across the street, we have the HD and LD Porter building. That was in 1906, and it doesn't really have much information on it. Again, it was just kind of a neat facade at the beginning, and again, all stone. In 1906, 1910. That's about the history of this whole thing. This was the Rhyolite schoolhouse. So 1906, 25 students. And by October there were 74, so you can see how it had grown. And then additionally there were 225 who were enrolled later. It was a $20,000 bond that created this building. And in 1911, the schoolhouse closed. So that is, again, it's amazing. There's a picture of it in its heyday with some of the kids there, and you see the flag. Really impressive. Across the street, looks like there's just a foundation that's only left. Not much left to it. Look how beautiful it is out here though, with all these mountains. The green. Oh, you saw over there also, and even here, we had a massive hurricane that turned into a tropical storm, which, from what I understand, it rained extremely hard here for 3 days. So a lot of this is damaged because of that. This used to be the Miners' Union Hall. So the miners had formed a union called the local Bonanza Miners Union 235, and was formed during the early days of Rhyolite. And by 1907, it had 1,400 members, and the dues were around $2 a month. Fire destroyed this in 1909, and then, of course, shortly after that, actually the town was destroyed or was abandoned. So again, really interesting. And again, here's a picture of the schoolhouse. When I walk among these crumbled brick walls, I don't feel anything spooky. I feel a deep sense of respect. These ruins aren't monuments to failure. They are memorials to the courage, the fierce desire, and the extraordinary labor of the pioneers. They came here facing harsh nature and dared to dream big. Rhyolite has now returned to its silence in the desert. The wind is the only song left in the opera house, and sand has filled the vaults that once held gold. But this story lives on through the sparkling glass of Tom Kelly's house and through history lovers like you and me. If you ever find yourself near Death Valley, drop by Rhyolite. Stand still for a moment and listen to the echoes of the past. Thank you for joining me on today's time-traveling adventure. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can explore more fascinating places together. For now, goodbye and see you the next time.